Jesus freak here. The video you are going to see in the background for the remainder of this is heavily edited, and this is for a couple reasons. First of all is, while I was taking the video, I had to hold up my arm, and I can only do that for so long. I had to prioritize when I could have my arm up and the camera out. The second is, I know it'd be boring enough already with me walking around town and I'm not even on the camera. It would be even more boring if you saw the unedited footage of me walking from place to place. The third is, I actually took the video on multiple days. So even when it's cut to appear more or less continuous, that doesn't mean it necessarily is. Anyway, here goes. As I said, I recorded this video over the period of 3 days, so you're gonna see a bunch of footage cut together. Yeah, it's a little bit long, and you're not gonna see a lot of the houses because I'm not really covering that part of the city. I can only cover so much, and I tended to focus on the business district. Kind of quickly saw a store over on the left. For a while I used to buy my alcohol there. Or rather have someone else buy it for me and pay him for it, because at the time I didn't have ID. It's not that I wasn't of age. I mean, I was 21 when I moved out here. But I still need ID. You can kind of see that, a lot of the buildings are kind of derelict. And even with the ones that aren't, there's kind of a, who really cares attitude. There's been a tendency for Pentecostals to take over churches that closed, and I believe that's what happened with this one. Can't remember what it was before it was Christ Redemption Tabernacle. There's an Episcopal church up on Hyde Park that closed down and was replaced by a Kojic. You know, Kojic, the Black Pentecostals, that's where Edwin Hawkins singers came from Kojic. Not Niagara Falls, of course. For a while, this was my preferred pizzeria. When I moved back to this side of town, I tried them. They're not as good as they were. The pizza I had was a little bit underdone. I used to date someone from around here, but I never passed by her place directly because previous experiences made me kind of leery of directly showing up in front of someone else's house, and if, you know, I was worried what people might think because I'm autistic, and I come off as a bit of a creep. I've been to this church a couple times. They're a decent church as far as churches go. Or if I were to, you know, keep going, it'd be secondary to my own church that I've been attending since 2015. I'd like to cover more of this street. It's Hyde Park Boulevard. The problem is, it's not exactly easy for me to walk out this far. So you're seeing this little strip here. No, I'm not showing you footage from across the border. We really do have Tim Hortons in the U.S. In fact, as I understand it, Tim Hortons is almost as big in Western New York as it is in Canada in general. Probably because Tim Horton himself played for the Buffalo Sabres. He was a hockey player. We have a lot of small pizzerias here in Niagara Falls. You're not going to see the one I usually go to. That's a bit off the beaten path. But you will see a few. You notice I am kind of walking unevenly. I do that. Sorry, this video is a little jittery. It's the way I walk. I'm actually holding the camera a little bit below eye level. If I tried to hold it at my eye level, then my arms would tire out even faster than they have been. .7-Eleven. There used to be only the one 7-Eleven down on Buffalo Avenue. At some point, after a bunch of changing hands, most of these used to be Wilson Farms. For a while it was owned by Tops. And the Tops changed hands a few times. They were owned by a Royal Ahold, a Dutch company, for a while. And then they were owned by some investment company. I don't know who owns them. Price Chopper owns them now. But at one point they spun off Wilson Farms, and then after a while Wilson Farms decided to sell themselves to 7-Eleven. So you see a lot of 7-Elevens in this area now. When I moved here, there was only the one. Now, we share our bus system with the nearby cities. And there is, in fact, a bus, actually I think there's 3 of them now, that go between Niagara Falls and Buffalo. This dance school has been closed for a while. I think one of my ex-girlfriends used to go there when she was in high school. I don't make a habit of buying things or renting things at rent-to-own places. That's not me. Pine Avenue might not be the main drag, but it's my main drag. I'm only covering a few streets because it's impractical for me to cover any more. It's weird when I say I've lived here most of my life. You know, it's technically correct, the best kind. I'm 43, I've lived here since I was 21. I lived in this area more generally since I was 15. I'm not from here. Kind of see the Cristoforo Colombo building over on the left, which is where my my polling place is. And across the parking lot, don't see much of it here because I'm focusing on the Como restaurant. But the food bank has a warehouse. Used to work there when I was on welfare. Como is a little rich for my taste. That's satellite post office. The hours are terrible. But if they're open and I need to do something that requires post office or that I can do there while I'm in the general area, I do. For a while, this white building was the St. Vincent de Paul, which is a Catholic equivalent of the Salvation Army. Then they were a Pentecostal church, a Spanish Pentecostal church, and now there's nothing there anymore. I mean, the city's gone to hell in a handbasket since before I moved here. There were people saying that this place has gone to hell in a handbasket before I was born, so, you know, nothing new. Cricket store, the sign's still there, the store isn't. Kind of see off in the distance where the city market is. You can see a lot off in the back. It's mostly obscured by the trees. Bettina, you can kind of see off there. It's an Italian specialty grocery store. I go there once in a while. They also have some more general groceries. Used to be a Decanillo on the other end of the block, but it's gone now. It's a bakery. The actual bakery, I think, is downtown. The store isn't closed. They just roll down the doors when they close, so it looks like they're not there. There's a bunch of businesses that used to be here that are gone now. The shame, really. Sometimes business would open, you'd be open for a few months and you'd be gone. Like this one over here. I sometimes stop by this Chinese joint. Well, not too bad. The Church of Rome. A lot of churches in Niagara Falls, unfortunately, a lot of them are also Catholic. If I had the money, I'd rent a place so I can do, what I currently do with pre-recorded videos on YouTube on Sunday morning is to do it live. VA office used to be a funeral home. Spalino Amagoni, I think it was called. That used to be the high school. No, it's not the high school I went to. I went to Lewiston Court. That's the local hospital. About a month or a month and a half ago, the manager at that Tim Hortons you saw earlier got her face smashed in by a couple Karens, and it took her here. Vaguely see a second tower building next to that first one. I lived there for a few years. Not the one you see, the one you could barely see when my camera was tipped a bit further to the right. That's one of the main places. The other one's further back on Pine, where I buy my alcohol. Yes, I drink. I don't make a habit of it, but I drink. We're starting to get into the downtown area. I will say this, even the downtown is kind of tearing. The question being, does Niagara Falls, Ontario look any better? Yes, much. And I mean that. This clip, I actually came back and redid. Because the original version I wasn't able to use. Because there was a kid in it. See, if anyone under 18 appears in a YouTube video and you can't prove that their legal guardian is okay with that, they're not going to do strike one, strike two, strike three. They're just going to take your whole damn channel down. Because that opens both you and them to tons and tons of potential liability. You'll notice with the other videos that I shot on the third day, the ones that I took in the real downtown area, that there's a lot of really quick editing to avoid this. There was another video I did where I had a censor bar over a picture frame because there were kids in the picture frame. It was easier to just do that than try to find who every single kid in the picture was and make sure every single kid's parents was okay with that. I think I ate at a previous incarnation of this place once. Many years ago. That's where I have my keys copied. Only in Niagara Falls could a KFC go bust? There you have it, a former KFC that closed down. And to see a little more of that building that's in the background, it used to be the YMCA. Now, you got what was for a long time the Y. Then you have this intersection coming up, which was called the Y, because it's a Y intersection. But that's not all, and you're about to see that too. There's the library. This little hole in the wall is also the Y. For a long time, this intersection had 3 different Ys. You had the Y, the intersection, the Y, the coffee shop, and this used to be the Y. Remember, YMCA stands for Young Men's Christian Association. It went from one Christian group, nominally, because I don't know how Christian they are anymore, to another definitely Christian. There's a number of state government-related services over in that brick building over there. This bus station used to be a Payless many years ago. The original bus station was displaced when they put in the casino, and they were downtown for a while, and then they moved up here. When I go to the store, that's usually where I go. And there again, you see the place I used to live. It's that tower in the front. Now, there's a bit of a disconnect because I cut to another intersection. Another former female long hair. Now we're approaching downtown from a different direction. When I go to Canada, this is the way I go. So far as any of these places are or were open, I haven't been in most of them. Now, I have a strong moral opposition to gambling, to the point that I will not darken the threshold of a casino, even to do non-gambling things. I will not do it. Frankly, I don't believe casinos should be allowed to exist, even Native American ones. And I stand by that. I also don't believe the lotto should exist. Scratch-offs, even any of that should be outlawed. That store moved up to Pine Avenue. Saw it earlier. Nate's Computers still exist. They're further uptown. You'll notice there's multiple taxi companies in Niagara Falls. They all charge the same thing. I think it's controlled by the city. You have to wonder why they put up a sign and just let the tree grow around it. Someone ought to buy up some of this derelict land and put some low-income apartment buildings. They'd probably make a killing once they recoup the cost of construction and land acquisition. I was new to the area. I used to be down here a lot more because the bus station was here. I used to get stopped several times by people who had computer directions told him to go down Quay Street. There was no Quay Street. Well, there used to be. But now it's called John B. Daly Boulevard. I didn't know it at the time, but that's basically how I directed them. Gas station convenience store over there is owned by the Senecas. I think the purple eagle is one of their symbols. As you see, it's still pretty derelict. In fact, it's probably more derelict than the Main Street area. Casino was built on promises of lies. I say that with no exaggeration.
Niagara Street. Walk sign on to cross Niagara.
The newer traffic signals, the newer walk signs have the speakers in them. For the visually impaired, they also help people like me, who might not necessarily be visually impaired, but don't always notice the light change. This technically is downtown. I tend to think more of the area around the bus station and where Tops and such are as the real downtown. There's really not much down here. Well, there was the park. Most people associate downtown of a city with shopping. And there's precious little in this city. Downtown. Yeah, I joked the traffic signal. I don't care. Very rarely, unless I'm on a bus and it passed by this way, in transit elsewhere, am I in this part of the city. I don't have a reason to. Once in a while, instead of my usual church, I'll go to this one. But they are a bit squishy. I'm not sure how universal that is among Episcopalians anymore, but things are going to be a little choppy once I get out of the downtown off the roundabout. Because they had to cut around. So didn't have any kids in the picture. They're made of the mist on both sides of the river. One of the Canadian ones appeared in Superman 2. This Hotel Niagara thing is a little boondoggle. You have a Papa John's? Why anyone would go there, I don't know. There's tons of better pizzerias. This used to be a mall, the Rainbow Center Mall. It's been closed for years. They had an A&W in there. Never at an A&W, either US one or Canadian. Niagara Scenic Parkway. I moved into the area, it was called the R. Moses Parkway. Nobody up here likes Robert Moses. He was universally seen as a scumbag. You know, wrecked the area to benefit New York City.
Niagara Street. Walk sign is on the cross. Niagara Street.
Upstate and downstate have never really gotten along. This part of 3rd Street's more of a main drag than Main Street is. I think the Christian scientists, or should I say the so-called Christian scientists, used to have a reading room in that building across the lower floor there. That brick building.
Wait.
This is gonna loop back to places you've already been, and that's where the video is gonna stop. And so the outward half of the arterial, now you're gonna see the inward half.
Wait.
There's the main post office.
Wait. Walnut Avenue.
See this? Because I'll just get there when I hit the end of the footage. But there's a Unitarian Universalist, quote-unquote, church. A couple doors up from here. Now, the word church ultimately derives from a Greek word meaning house of the Lord. It's my opinion that only Christians should use the term. I mean, I can't police it, but it's just my opinion. They were Christians at one point, and then they moved so far to the left that they don't believe in anything, really. They're just a social club that call themselves a church. Anyway, coming back up on the circuit. So I'm going to leave off this narration. Before the video ends. Jesus freak out.